Hey, what's up guys? John here. What is happening right now in Fort Lauderdale is going to change the game for Florida real estate. Take a look at just overall the last 18 months, what's happened. You had Fort Myers, you had the Miami building collapse, and now you're having Fort Lauderdale. This entire situation, it's a disaster. I mean, you might not see the pictures, but I'm going to show it to you right now so you can bring everything home and bring it into context and get an idea what's about to happen in property ownership and multifamily property. It's going to change a lot. Fort Lauderdale declares state of emergency after historic downfall. Historic downfall. These are the images. I mean, you got people on a boat, literally canoeing. For example, yesterday, my locksmith, I broke a lock at my place, called a locksmith in. He was telling me his friend had a small boat, a little bigger than what this lady has, and they were rescuing people off the main street. So pretty crazy stuff. I'm going to walk you through what's going on. Hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this content to educate more people about what's going on in the Florida housing market. Also, if you intend to invest in real estate, maybe you want to invest in distressed real estate, you're going to need great credit to do it. We would love to help you fix your credit at GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. You can give us a call at 561-430-5900. Also, maybe you have high interest credit card debt and you have bad credit. With a great credit score, it could open you up to 0% interest balance transfers to get you out of debt faster. Take a look at this. So the Fort Lauderdale airport, what this actually means for property owners. Let's say, for example, you're this property owner or this property owner, this lady right here. Now, if she has this insurance policy and she's paying $2,000 a year, $3,000 a year, and now that insurance company has to go in there and fix everything and spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to fix that property, all the while taking her out of the property, putting her into a rental at the insurance company's expense. Now, doing that on one property or two properties or 10 or 100 might be okay. But doing it on thousands and thousands and thousands of properties is going to push insurance companies out of business, or it's going to push their rates through the roof. This is just the beginning for Florida. This, I think, is also going to have a really, really big impact on people that are, retirees, people that have second homes. In Florida, there's 1.6 million vacant homes. A lot of people don't know that. 1.6 million homes in Florida are vacant. Just over 10% of all the properties, or over 17%, of all the properties are vacant in Florida. I'll pin the reference to that article down below, but it's public knowledge. And the reason for that is you have a lot of retirees, people buying second homes in Florida. Historically, it's always been the trend to buy that second home in Florida. Well, what are these people going to do as insurance rates continue to rise? They're either going to rent them out, they're going to pay it, or they're going to sell the property, either the one in Florida or their other one and move to Florida permanently. But people are going to start making decisions. They're going to have to start making decisions because this situation is, this is pretty close to my office. Look at the main strip here. The main strip. All these cars are just out of control, just flooding right down the street. Fort Myers, 97% of all the structures on the island were damaged in the hurricane. More than 1,000 homes and apartments on Fort Myers Beach were substantially damaged, more than 1,000. Then you had this situation with the Miami building collapse. $1 billion settlement, or $997 million settlement, and who's predominantly responsible? It's insurance companies. And so when we look at how this all plays out, for example, if you are an investor in Los Angeles or New York over the last few years, at least a lot of the people I was speaking to, my broker told me that his people were selling and they were trying to go to an area that would be more friendly for their business. And where would you go? You would likely go to South Florida. But there was so much demand for these properties that it pushed property prices up so high to where people are buying 3 caps and 4 caps. And so what that means is if you were to pay all cash for the property, it would return a 3 or 4% return. But people aren't putting all cash down. In fact, they're putting 30% down or 40% down on these large commercial properties and taking out loans. But they're not taking 30-year fixed rate loans like you would a normal house. Instead, they're taking out bridge debt. They're taking out short-term commercial loans, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and then it adjusts to the market. But what's happened in Florida is unbelievable because it's not just mainly Florida, but interest rates went from 3% to 7%. So the cost to borrow money is skyrocketing. All the while, their assets are going to start coming down in value because they're not going to have the income of the building to support a higher loan amount or higher interest payment. They're not going to have the money. They're not going to be able to get the loan. So either they're going to have to come up with more cash out of their own pocket to stay in the deal, or they're going to walk away from the deal. And as that is happening, property insurance in the desirable areas, think Delray Beach, Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Sunny Isles. Look at a lot of these areas, St. Petersburg, all these different areas. What's going to happen? Insurance rates are going to keep going up. And so the people bought these deals based on very low cash flows, and their vacancies are going up, their utility bills are going up, their insurance rates are going up, the cost of service debt is going up. It's a problem. So when we look at how this is going to impact these insurance companies, this article came out April 4th, by the way. So this came out, give or take 10 days ago, right? 10 days ago, they're saying insurance rates going up on average 40%. 40%. And so this is before Fort Lauderdale. And what I'm betting on is Fort Lauderdale is probably going to have an impact that's going to increase this number above 40%. So they're saying property insurance rates in Florida are predicted to jump at least 40% in 2023, according to the Insurance Information Institute, right? What I think is going to happen, I would bet that insurance rates double in Florida, in a lot of the areas that are deemed high risk, probably in the next 36 months, right? It's going to go 40%, and maybe a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and before you know it's 100% more. And so what does that look like? On a $500,000 property, this says, how much does home ownership cost in Florida? The average cost of home ownership insurance is $2,385 per year. That's average. That takes into consideration mobile homes. That takes into consideration condos. It takes into consideration, very low risk areas. So that's about $200 a month. So on average, that would mean that the insurance would be roughly $300 per month as an average, right? So in high risk areas, it's probably going to be a lot more than that. And so what I think is going to happen is these property owners that are barely making it, these increases with utilities and property insurance, it's going to push a lot of people over the edge. And so they might have this beautiful mortgage, 2.5%, 3%, people are like, I'll never leave that mortgage. I'll never leave that mortgage. Well, if you have the option to never leave the mortgage, that's awesome, right? But what happens when the cost of the world gets more and more and more expensive? People can't refinance these properties because if they do, they're going to do it at a 7% rate, and they won't have the debt to income ratios to get that money. And so what's going to happen? People are going to be forced to sell. I love Florida. I think Florida is a beautiful place to live. Has a lot of really great things going for it, especially if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur. But I think we're going to start to see a lot of change in Florida over the coming couple of years. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. A lot of change is going to be coming. I also think what we're going to start to see is a lot of real estate investors going into these really high risk areas. The areas that are, you're not going to be able to get insurance on. Or the rates are going to be way too high to get insurance. So they're going to run out there and say, you know what, I'll pay all cash. I don't need to get insurance. I'll self-insure it, but I'm going to want a deal. And if there's not as many buyers out there willing to go all cash on the deal, then what's ultimately going to happen? Prices are going to come down, allowing a big opportunity for these investors to run out there and pick up these deals. Even Glenn Kelman, the CEO of Redfin, came out and said, only the wealthy will be able to live in certain areas of Florida. That's what he said. That was 2 years ago. So this is in fact happening. This is true. It is unbelievable just how much has happened in terms of these disasters over the last 18 months. Like, it's really incredible. For example, the condo that I have in Florida, it's in an area that is not far at all from the beach, and the HOA that includes insurance increased 40% over the last 18 months. 40%. I can afford it, but 40%. It's unbelievable, right? It is unbelievable. I believe what we're going to start to see over the next year, 2 years, 3 years is going to be a lot of property trading hands in the state of Florida. Like, a lot of property trading hands and a lot of opportunity to invest in Florida when the distress is priced into these markets. But when you look at these pictures, I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable. I saw a TikTok had like 200 something thousand likes on it of I believe it was this video or a video very similar that just went down the entire street showing hundreds of cars that were just simply getting almost like towed down the street, just floating. It's incredible. It's really incredible. I think we're going to start to see a lot of insurance companies leaving the state, but that's not I'm not injecting any emotion into it. I'm not saying, Florida's this or Florida's that. But what I am saying is that we're going to start to see a lot of change through these insurance companies, because you're not going to be able to get a mortgage without insurance. And a lot of people don't know that. You have to have insurance coverage if you have a mortgage. You have to have insurance, because the lender is going to want to make sure that you're covered. And so if you don't have insurance, then their investment is not covered. They're not going to allow that. So if insurance rates skyrocket, it's going to impact many people's ability to qualify for these properties. So really big changes coming, I believe, in Florida over the next few years. What do you think about this entire situation? How do you think this is going to impact commercial landlords, Airbnb investors, real estate investors, people that are living and investing in these high-risk areas in Florida? By the way, if you intend to invest in real estate and you have bad credit, when I say bad credit, I mean below 750. Like if you don't have exceptional credit and you want great credit, we would love to help you at GreatCreditFast.com. Schedule a free consultation at GreatCreditFast.com or give us a call at 561-430-5900 and add me on Instagram. Catch you guys later.